a child, I was teased and called an Oreo. You know, like that famous cookie, chocolate on the outside and creamy filling in the middle. Now, to be called an Oreo meant that I speak too proper, I dress too weird, and I dance too white. In other words, I was not living up to the cultural expectations of my race. But just who gets to decide what that means? Now, have you ever been teased or called a name? Y'all too beautiful. I'm not sure y'all know what I'm talking about. But if you've ever been teased or called a name because you're different, how did that make you feel? Yeah, I felt the same way. That is until I made a decision. I decided that since I was already different, I would make a different decision. I decided to travel and live abroad. Living abroad opened up an entirely new world for me. You see, I was not known as the American or the Black American female. I was just simply the American. And to tell you the truth, without that label of Black or female, I was able to make sure that no one got to rate my level of Blackness. And with that, I could define the best version of me. American, female, or American Black and female. And I realized that this made me question something. Now, guys, come with me. What if my earlier tormentors were right? What if I really was an Oreo? So, with a dash of courage, self-discovery, and examination, I decided to tap into my inner Oreo. And this is what I found out. Did you know the Wall Street Journal reports that the Oreo was created in 1921 in the US and today is sold in over 100 different countries? So in essence, the Oreo has exceeded its own cultural transformation expectations and transformed into a global product and symbol of comfort food. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe I am an Oreo. I'm okay with that, right? I'm not done. So y'all grab some milk because we're gonna explore some more, okay? One of the things you'll note is that the Oreo has an outer shell that never changes. The inside is designed to adapt to each new environment that it is presented in. Well, just like me, because I'm an Oreo now, just like me, my outer shell never changes. Okay, much. And my inner filling adapts to each experience connection that I have along my journey to create an inner flavoring that is amazing. And just like the Oreo, with its 100-year history, it demands me to be more resilient and humane. I traveled to Croatia in the 1990s during the Croatian Independence War. So, with a lovely combination of an address, a plane ticket, and limited language ability, I set out to find my way to Bielovar. As we traveled deeper into the rural areas, one of the things that I noticed was that the color of my skin or my braids were not commonplace. And when I entered into the train, conversations halted and curious stares fell on me. I could feel the back of my hairs raise on my neck, and I went directly to my seat and I closed my eyes. You see, I was not about to let anybody engage with me at that time. And I began to count the stops until I reached Bielovar. And just like magic, before you knew it, we had arrived. Bielovar. I got up and gathered my bags, and the people in the cart all looked at me, and they waved their arms as if to wave me on, and they said, Bielovar! Bielovar! And I said, Bielovar! Bielovar! And I gave them a thumbs up. I stepped onto the platform, and the conductor came running towards me, and he said, Bielovar! Bielovar! And I said, what is wrong with these people? Yes, Bielovar. And then I noticed out of my periphery a soldier on my left and a soldier on my right proceeding swiftly towards me, holding tightly to their weapons, ready to engage. And I realized as I looked up to where the conductor was pointing that, oh, my bad, this isn't Bielovar. This was a military checkpoint. I was shuffled back into the train, embarrassed and angry. I noticed that meanwhile, those nosy country folks, they were sitting there, they were glued to that window watching every single thing happening. And I was so mad. And as I was steaming in my seat, something miraculous happened. One by one, the people in the train came over to me, reassuring me in Croatian, patting my hands and telling me, I think, that it was going to be okay. They began to offer me snacks. One guy even gave me a map so I knew where the real Bielovar was. And I realized in the flow of that moment that I had always looked at my difference as a struggle. I had always looked at my difference as something to be defensive about. And it was in that moment that I realized what I had thought of as aggression from the other people was actually the opportunity for connection. You see, our differences give us the opportunity to live our life to the fullest, but in the way that God intended us to be. And so just like the Oreo, I was able to add more flavor to my inner filling and add it to my portfolio of understanding. Now, how do you react when you're the only man, woman, black, white person in the room? Do you find yourself getting defensive just like I did? You see, Mark Twain stated that travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. It is well documented that travel expands the mind and enhances the experience. In the US today, 44% of the population own passports, in comparison to our friends in Great Britain who own 75% of them own passports, and our Canadian neighbors at 60%. Today, we find ourselves battling a cultural war of mega proportions. You see, we find ourselves with arguments that say masks versus vaccines. We find ourselves saying, if I bend a knee to protest injustice, how does that label me as bad? Or if I disrupt a democratic process, how does that label me as patriotic? And our chasms grow wider. But you know there's hope, right, guys? Yeah. There's always hope, and it begins with each and every one of us. So the first thing we have to do is to make sure that we are authentically ourselves. That means honor and accept yourself no matter where you are and what you're doing. Understand that being different does not require us to be defensive. So don't you shut your eyes to a world ready to engage and grow you. And then finally, okay, this is my favorite. Add more flavor to your inner filling. Be brave. Make new connections. Because you see, when we bridge this cultural divide, we can live beyond our own cultural expectations. What that means is that we can honor each and every one of our unique packaging that makes us divine and phenomenal. Thank you so much.